Okay, now that you've seen all the ways to create secrets in our stack, I'm going to give you a little assignment on using secrets with a previous stack you've used. You remember our friend Drupal, the compose file we used earlier in compose assignment 2. I want you to take that and we're going to actually extend it and make it stack ready. First, we're not going to build a custom image right now. We're just going to use the default Drupal. And then you'll need to remove the build section from your compose file. And then I'd like you to add the secret at the bottom. And when you do that, instead of using a file-based secret, put in external. You can also look that up in the resources for this section. It'll be the documentation on Docker's website all about secrets. It'll show you the formatting in there of a compose file. So you'll use external, which means we actually have to use the CLI to put that secret in. And then you're going to pass the password file that is the secret file into Postgres using the environment variable. So you'll need to add that to the Postgres section. Then before we actually deploy the stack, you need to actually put the secret into the swarm. So this would be a case where we're not using a secret file. We're simply going to manually, as an operator, add the secret to our swarm. And then in the stack file, we're going to actually specify that using the external at the bottom. Once you've got it all edited the way you think it's correct and you're ready to test it, just copy it into a new YAML file on your swarm node 1, try and do a stack deploy and see if it works. You may not get it right the first time, and that's fine. A lot of times I won't either, so I have to go back and revise it and then try a deployment again. And the errors that you'll get back are usually pretty good at telling you what your problems are. For me, it's usually that my YAML isn't formatted correctly or something silly like that. If you have any issues, don't hesitate to just watch the video after this where I actually walk through this assignment for you. But I think your brain will work better if you try it yourself and get your mind working about how you would actually solve this assignment yourself. So good luck, and I'll see you in the next lecture. Okay, so this is me walking through the assignment for the secrets compose file that we're going to put in our swarm stack. So this file was left over from our previous assignment when we were dealing with Drupal, and that was under a compose assignment 2 directory. So now I'm up at the top here, and I know we covered this previously, but I didn't mention it in the slide, is that this version needs to be 3.1 because a stack and swarm will not accept any secrets in a file unless it's at minimum 3.1 compose format. So the worst case, though, is if I left it at the 2 and I forgot, when I try to deploy my stack, it'll just say, sorry, cannot use compose version 2 file. So it'll just be pretty obvious that you need to change it. All right, so the next one was I needed to change this image. We're not going to build a custom image on our stack because remember, Swarm doesn't build, so at least not in the current version. So we're going to go back to the official Drupal 8.2, because in production we should always pin our versions. And I'm going to just get rid of this build here. Now technically in a stack I can leave the build command here, and it'll just ignore it. It'll actually just tell us, hey, don't need this build. I'm not going to use the build. I'm going to just pull down the image. Thank you. And we could just leave it, but I'm going to, for this example, not be distracted by that thing and just delete that line. Then I'm going to go down here to the environment, and we need to change this because we're no longer going to use an actual password. We're going to use the file. And then this Postgres is just like the previous lectures where we talked about how the official images now have this option for the file to support secrets. So now I just have to give it the location of the file instead of the actual secret itself. So run secrets, and we're going to call this one psql pw. And then I need to actually specify the secret. So down here under secrets, I want to call it psql pw. And then it's going to be external, which means that we're creating it on our own from the command line and that it's not the stack's responsibility to create it. So this is actually just a Boolean value. So I specify that as true. Oh, and then I almost forgot. Up here, I got to add the secrets. I have to list it. All right, that looks good to me. So we're going to copy this over to the server on node 1 of our swarm, and then we'll give the stack a shot. Okay, so I have copied over the compose file from my local machine. So we should be able to do a Docker stack deploy now. -c Docker compose, and I'm going to call it Drupal. And that's what happens when you forget to create the secret first. So, just like the instructions said, I'm going to create the secret, and I'm going to just put some random characters in here. Docker secret create, psql, pw, pass in the value. Okay, now I should be able to deploy the stack. And there we go. So Docker stack ps Drupal. Oh, I've got my Postgres and my Drupal. So I should be able to bring up a browser and go to node 18080. And there we go. I can install a Drupal. Let's actually test to see if that password worked. This is not actually required, but I just want to test it anyway. Postgres, database password, Postgres. There it goes. It worked. All right, and we're done.